You are listening to Visionaries Wrestling Network, providing your perfect podcast experience.
M is for Mason.
G is for Graham.
B for Betcha.
This is the MGB Wrestling Podcast, the podcast with PG-rated material accessible to wrestling fans of all ages. Hi, my name is Mason, and here's proof that wrestling fans still live with their parents, my co-host, my dad, Graham.
This is Fury Pro Wrestling's third event, Rising Tide, from February 17th, 2019. We're recording this on March 24th, 2019, and this will probably come out during your baseball season as well, Mason. We weren't actually at this one. I think the reason was, 2 days before, I think it was the Nova Pro event, so we couldn't get to both of them. So we just waited until it came out on Pivot Share, and we had a few problems. We were supposed to watch this a couple of weeks ago, and their technology wasn't working. Anyway, they got it all fixed. If you're interested in watching this as well, I think it's like $5 for the month, but you can actually watch all three shows for that price. So it's pretty good value if you haven't seen any of them yet. Alright, match one then was Eli Isom versus Green Ant versus Cheeseburger. Now, we agreed that I'm going to do the part about the characters, and then you're going to do the actual match itself, right? So the first thing that I noticed is Brian Hughes, ring announcer. So the guy who used to do the ring announcing at Nova Pro, and I've really missed him since he's been there. I love Lolo as well, but Brian was fantastic as well, and I'm really glad that he's got to do something that he's really passionate about, and something he's really good at as well. So it was really nice to see him in the ring as well. And Jason Heat on commentator. I know you pick him up much quicker. Now I'm finally starting to pay attention to that, and I recognise him much quicker, so I picked him out. I have a few things about the characters, but go ahead, give us a little start on the match, and then I might be able to introduce some facts later.
Okay, so the commentator says that by basic education, the only competitor left is Cheeseburger.
Seems like an overly complicated way of introducing the third person. But
I was just like...
They were doing all the sniffing sounds as well, like, is that meat I can smell? Things like that. And I was like, what are they talking about? And I didn't know at that point it was going to be Cheeseburger, so finally it became clear in the end.
So one locks one of the other wrestlers in a waist lock, then that one locks the other one in a waist lock, and then the one in the front, he gets out and locks the one in the back in a waist lock, and then they keep doing it over and over and over again. It was a big cycle.
Now, perhaps I should introduce a little bit about the characters. Eli Isom is from Ring of Honor. And I got a few quotes from him from Cage Match. Somebody reviewed him recently. HappyCat7 said, Eli is still relatively new to the wrestling scene, but Eli already has something about him that makes him feel like he will do quite well in Ring of Honor. He still has a lot to learn, but teaming up with Ryan Nova and Cheeseburger will hopefully benefit him. Ring of Honor seems to be gearing Eli up for a big mid-card, upper-card push, and eventually splits from Nova and Burger. They see potential in this guy, and I understand it. So two of these guys actually work together anyway. So Cheeseburger's also in Ring of Honor. So it was kind of a weird dynamic that it was a triple threat match, but two of them knew each other. And Green Ant, I actually called this one. I said, that looks like he's from Chikara. And you can just kind of tell now. Now I've seen a few Chikaras, you can tell their characters pretty quickly. Now let me tell you about some of their matches though. So their tag team, I think, is called the Shinobi Shadow Squad, as far as I can tell. And they've had some TV shows this year on Ring of Honor. And let's have a look who it was. Cheeseburger, Eli Isom, Ryan Nova defeat Dalton Castle, and the boys, Brandon and Brent. Now I don't know Brandon and Brent, I gotta admit.
Brandon Scott?
In Ring of Honor?
Oh.
I don't think so. I know Dalton Castle, though. I know we don't watch much Ring of Honor, but I know Dalton Castle's a big player. And also, Silas Young and the Briscoes defeat Shinobi Shadow Squad. So they've had some pretty big matches. Silas Young and the Briscoes certainly I've heard of, and I certainly recognise them.
So Eli shakes both of the Cheeseburger and Green Ant's hands, and then his hands are crossed. He reaches his right hand to the left person and the left to the right, and then he pulls his hands together, out, and then they both clash their heads together, which was a classic heel move. I thought all of them were all faces, and then until that moment, Eli was obviously the clear heel. And Cheeseburger locks the guy. Cheeseburger looks like the guy who acts Black Panther.
Oh yeah, you said that, and I can't remember what his name is. I didn't really like that film, and I know but I knew who you were talking about straight away. I was like, oh yeah, I wish I could remember his name. I'm sure everyone who's listening probably knows who it is, but I just honestly can't remember.
And I think it was Jason said that the green ant is getting advice from his antennas.
He did mention that, yeah. I think that was slightly sarcastic. Now, Green Ant's fairly new, though, actually. He's only got 1 year of experience. His debut was on the National Pro Wrestling Day in 2018, because we talked about that on a previous one. We nearly went to the 2019 version of that one as well.
And then I think it was Jason again that said that Cheeseburger Cheeseburger trained Eli Isom.
That's possible. Now, Cheeseburger has a lot more experience. I think he said he's been training for 6 years. Now, Cheeseburger's trainers himself are quite big names. They include people like Lance Storm and Mike Quackenbush. And he actually has 42 votes on Cage Match. Now, we talked about that before. It's not always that much of an... But that's a lot of people. That's a lot of votes. I don't think I've seen anyone have as many votes as him. So he's certainly got a little bit more experience.
So Cheeseburger rolls up Eli Isom for the win.
Now, I had Cheeseburger rolls up and he pins Green Ant.
No, he did not.
All right, okay.
He rolled up.
I was definitely looking at these people because I didn't know them as well. So I was looking it up online, but I was like, I'll at least write down the finish in case you say, like, I don't have anything for this match. And it would be quite clear because Green Ant is in a big green costume and the other guy was not in a costume at all. So I'll trust you on that one. Now, I got one more thing about Cheeseburger. Some of the matches he's been in this year. He actually been not only just Ring of Honor, he's actually been in some New Japan matches as well. He was actually in their, I think it was their pay-per-view, the Honor Rising, Colt Cabana and Toru Yano versus Cheeseburger and Delirious, which was in Tokyo, Japan. So Colt Cabana's obviously a big name as well. So you can tell Cheeseburger's obviously got a lot more experience. So that doesn't surprise me what you told me about him a second ago. Alright, match 2 was Penelope Ford and Samantha Heights. Now, we've talked about both of these people quite a lot, so Samantha Heights is definitely one half of the Sinister Sweethearts, and she complained at the start that Brittany Blake wasn't there, and Brittany Blake was there the previous 2, I think, from what I can remember.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that caught me on this one was they introduced the women's weights. Now, I don't remember that normally happening very often, but also it was kind of confusing because they were both listed as 120 pounds. I was like, that's a very precise number. Like Johnny Gargano, 199. I'm like, that's clearly not rounded. I was like, did they round to 120? They're exactly 120? I thought that was interesting, and that's going to come up actually on the next match as well.
Apparently that Brittany Blake did not get invited to Fury Pro.
Oh, she didn't get invited. Okay.
That's what Jason said.
Oh, because she said when the two of them are together, everyone knows that they're too strong. Like, okay. And actually, Brittany Blake's been working with Gemma Cross, the ones that we've seen at Fury Pro as well, so...
Oh yeah, Samantha tries to pin Penelope Ford at the start of the match, but all she did was poke her eyes. How does poking her eye... What does her eyes have to do with Penelope Ford's kicking out ability?
Have you ever been poked in the eyes?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering... if you just said no, I was going to say, do you want to experiment?
But if you get kicked... How would that...
If you get poked in the eyes, your first reaction is your hands go up to your eyes, because it really hurts, and at that point it'd be easy to pin you.
Yeah, but all she did was poke her in the eyes. I was just confused. Why would you pin her after you just poked her eyes and it was the start of the match? That's all she did. And then
I don't remember that part because I was looking up something.
She just poked her eyes and then she pinned her.
Well, it sounds like a good heel move. Like, if you're blinded, you can't see what's going on.
I thought you would at least drop kick her or do something after that.
I don't know. Seems perfectly reasonable to me, but okay.
Samantha gets really mad when Ford keeps kicking out. And then Samantha tries to win with the feet on the rope, but the ref sees it.
Yep.
And she basically distracts... she's basically talking to the ref, and it gives Penelope Ford some time to recover, and Ford wins with a springboard cutter.
Yeah, she did that, and I called it the flippy thing. She just does flips. It goes up against the ropes, and bounces back, and then did that cutter. I really like that. I always keep thinking, though, the other person, I kind of like to watch it, and I kind of think, like, the wrestler who gets it done to them is kind of like the same. They're, like, frozen in the middle of the ring, like, whoa, she's doing her flippy thing. And it's like, oh, I guess I just got a cutter. It really looks impressive to me. I really like seeing that. Now, we did have a problem with this while we were watching the video, and I'm not sure if it was down to the pivot share or if it was down to my computer. The video kept freezing.
Yes.
And then the sound kept cutting out as well. And I thought, oh, there's gaps in the sound. But as you said, it just keeps catching up. So you'd have some segments that were slow, and then you'd have some segments that were super speeded up. I like the slow-mo sections. You could actually see the moves. They were legitimate moves. Because sometimes you're like, okay, we know this is stage, whatever. They're not. They looked like they were... and obviously these are professional wrestlers. You could tell that they were good moves. I like seeing it in slow motion, because you don't normally... I guess in the old days, when we used to record it off the video, you could slow things down to like half speed, or you could go to twice speed, and you could see bits like that just to see like what actually happened. But I thought that was kind of...
I was watching the match after that, and when it was speeding up, the person did a cannonball. Mm-hmm. And then the cannonball went so quick, it just looked like she pushed down. It looks like so fast.
It didn't happen too much, thankfully. Yeah. There was one move when somebody was spinning around. I was like, whoa, she spun around fast. And you were like, that's speeded up. I was being sarcastic, but you sort of had to figure out what was actually going on. But yeah, I was looking down for a long time because I was researching different people, and I was sort of listening in and then looking up. But yeah, I got kind of confused. I was like, whoa, they're moving like really slow. I thought it was like that Harlem Globetrotter scene. You know, where they slow things down, or supposedly slow time down? I thought it was like that to begin. I was like, oh, it's just the video messing up.
And, it looked like Eli Isom, he has, like, dreads, and then whenever he was turning his head, his dreads were, like, moving so slow. Yeah.
Alright, match 3. Stella Gray and Veda Scott. Now, actually, Stella was listed at 120 again. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, are they just going to say every woman is 120? And then Brian announced Veda Scott as 130. And Veda corrected him. She said 126. So, and actually, I looked on Wikipedia. It actually lists on Wikipedia as 114. Okay. So, I don't know. I don't know how... Your weight can change from day to day anyway. So, I don't know if they... Now, I always wonder, how can Johnny Gargano be 199 every time he wrestles? I wonder if they just do it once a year or something.
For 205 Live, they weigh, before each title shot, they weigh each person.
Oh, how do you know that?
They had to weigh, because it was the Royal Rumble, and then they showed Buddy Murphy getting weighed, and he was 204.
Oh, okay.
So,
I don't remember that at all.
I don't know if you have to drop the belt if you're over 205, or they just lie. Or
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. If you're a boxer, you often have to. If you don't make the weight, you'll often have to go like into the sweat room, the sauna, and like sweat out some water, and then you can get re-weighed again. Because once you lose the perspiration, that's weight, and then you can re-weigh yourself. Obviously, if you're like 20 pounds over, you can't do that. But no, that certainly happens. I don't think they do that for this.
One of the other commentators said, "Wow, look how white Veda Scott's teeth are." That was her mouth guard.
I didn't notice that at all. Unless they were being sarcastic again as well. Sometimes it's not always easy to tell.
No, but she was like, wow, look at how white her teeth are.
And she had the mouth guard in the whole time?
Yeah. So Stella gets kicked.
That's all we have?
No.
She gets kicked?
Into a... Oh, so Stella gets pinned by Veda Scott, and then she kicks out.
Okay.
And then Veda transitions into the crippler crossface. Mm-hmm. Then Stella rolls Veda up, like she just moves sideways a little bit, and then Veda kicks out. Stella goes, then kicks Veda on the nose, and then does a stunner. Then Lady Frost gets up on the apron because it would have been a sure 3 count.
Oh yeah.
But Lady Frost got on the apron. Victor Benjamin does a tornado kick, and Stella pins Veda Scott.
Now, I think that was the part where it slowed down. That kick to the face, it was like, oh, you can see there was nothing being held back on that at all. It's like, that's going to really hurt. I was really impressed with that part. But yeah, I'm still not sure, though, why Lady Frost and Victor Benjamin got involved in that. I couldn't see any backstory to that at all, unless they're setting up a new story.
Jason said that Stella Gray was expecting them.
Oh, okay, so it was more to do... And I don't know Stella Gray very well at all. I didn't actually look up anything on Stella Gray at all. I'm not quite sure why. Don't know if I got distracted at that point. I don't really remember.
It was a short match.
Yeah. Alright, match 4 was Sicend versus Vic Ramon. Vic Ramon?
Vic Ramon, I think.
There's no E on the end, but Ramon sounds more sensible than Ramon.
So, Kaya comes out with Sicend. And then,
Kia McKenna?
Yeah. And then she runs back in, and then she goes out with Vic Ramon. And then they're both part of Riot City. but they're just fighting each other because I think they split up. I thought
Well,
that
we
was,
recognise this, and we can remember the times which came first, because we saw them at Flying V, but we couldn't remember with going back how long ago this was. So this was February, and Flying V was January. So yeah, we saw them split at Flying V. So yeah, this was a singles match.
So Flying V was actually, it wasn't just Flying V.
Doesn't look like it.
Because it was like Sage was just a heel at Flying V.
Correct.
And now he's a face at Nova Pro.
Mm-hmm.
But Sicend, he goes away from Riot City, but that's everywhere.
Yeah. It's not always easy to tell on things like that, because you have the license to do whatever you like. But yeah, it's sometimes when you see a lot of the wrestlers, sometimes you're not always sure, because it's almost like having a parallel universe. You know, like one version of them, but then you're not sure which version is this one. But yeah. Now, it's actually kind of difficult to find out about Riot City. Riot City Wrestling, if you Google it, it's actually an Australian independent professional wrestling promotion, founded in January 2006 in Adelaide, South Australia. It runs shows independently in conjunction with local festivals. So it's really difficult to find out about Riot City, actually.
So one of the commentators, I think it was Jason, he said that you can place your money on Riot City, but you would always get it right.
Uh-huh.
And then you could start chanting Riot City, but then even if you don't know who to root for, you'll still be rooting for both.
I want to pick you up on one thing here, because you've said this a few times. As far as I could tell, there was only two commentators.
Yes,
there was a male commentator and a female commentator.
Jason
and
was the
you've
male,
said,
obviously.
Well, obviously. Well, that's why I think Jason said. Wouldn't it be obvious from their voices?
I don't really remember, because I didn't write who it was.
Okay, all right, just checking. Well, you could have said, you didn't ask me to pause this at any point. I just wondered if you couldn't tell the difference between, or if you're saying that Jason has a very female-sounding voice, or the lady has a very male sound. All right, you weren't saying that.
Sort of the female has a little male-ish voice, but I don't know. How is that funny?
That's staying in.
No, how is this funny?
Anything else for this match?
So, Vic, he does a handstand on Sicend's shoulder, and then he transitions into the uppercut to the back of the head. So, I thought that was really cool. Vic wins the match when he catches Sicend trying to do another dive, a jumping cutter, and into the Falcon Arrow.
Now, we had a segment on MGB a while ago, probably this time last year, Brock Lesnar, because he never tweets. I think he's found a rival, actually. And we had Bro Keller for a little while, but he's much better now. He quotes a lot more frequently. Sicend. He set up his Twitter account in October 2016. Okay? Do you want to guess how many tweets?
3.
It's low. 8 tweets. That's not very many at all. So in 2.5 years, 8 tweets. The first tweet said, "I'm not a Twitter person, but now I have to have one." That was it. Now, his last tweet was actually January 5th, and it was a poster that said, "Riot City Rules, presented by Showtime Championship Wrestling Alliance. Every match has a stipulation." Unfortunately, it's like 6 hours away. It's near Pittsburgh. I tried to find out because it sounded kind of interesting. So that's 2 of the tweets. The other 6 tweets all came within 10 days.
Whoa.
They were all at the end of December 2018, and they actually mentioned Flying V was one of them as well. So he set up that account and said, "Not a Twitter person." He didn't tweet again for another year. And then, basically, all those tweets, the last 7 tweets all came within a month, and then nothing for the last 2.5 months again. So I think if we ever decide to revive that section, I think Sicend would be a good person to... I don't know if I followed him or not, just to see what he actually... Perhaps I need to set up an alert on my phone, because if he sends anything, obviously it's kind of important now. So I want to know what Sicend... So I'm definitely going to pay closer attention to Sicend's Twitter feed. I couldn't find anything for Vic Ramon.
Is Brock Lesnar on, TikTok or Instagram?
No idea. Vic Ramon couldn't find anything
Facebook?
about it at all. I typed it in, couldn't find anything on Twitter, so I couldn't find any more details for him. All right, let's move on to match 5 then. Jenny Rose versus Kelly Klein. Now, both have featured in the first ever Fury Pro. And, I think we've talked about both of these. And Jenny Rose also featured, because I remember she was from Ring of Honor, so I didn't need to do much research for this one. So you can just tell us about the match.
Yeah, so Kelly Klein, she stands on Jenny Rose's hair and then pulls her arms up, and then some of her hair actually gets pulled out.
Oh, yikes.
So she walks around with the hair, and then she just throws it at one of the fans.
Who was the... remember at Nova Pro, when a big chunk of hair came out from the lady at
Sahara
Oxford?
7?
Oh, that was who it was, Sahara 7, yeah.
Those were, fake, I think. I can't remember what the name's called.
Oh gosh. The Weave.
Yeah, Weave.
It was the Weave, yes.
This was a really short match. Kelly Klein wins with a fireman's carry.
Yeah, I had that. She got the fireman carry. She went for a slam. 1, 2, 3. There was a few close ones just before that. And Kelly moves on to 2-0. I don't think she fought in the second one. I don't know if she was injured.
Yeah,
she
was
came
injured.
out.
Yeah, at the end of the show.
Yeah, she came out at the end of the show. So, yeah, she's had 2 matches and she's 2-0. So I think they're going to be setting her up for a big match further down the line. Now she keeps winning. All right, match 6. Holidead versus Shotzi. Holidead. She's easily recognized for a distinctive face paint and eerie gimmick that, according to her Twitter page, describes her as representing the dark side, wrestling demons in and out of the ring. Now, I do remember Holidead because we've seen her, I think, one time.
Yes.
I think it was probably at Nova Pro as well. Also, from her Twitter feed, it says, as seen, Ring of Honor and Women of Wrestling. International independent pro wrestler based out of Northeast Ohio. So it's possible when we go up to Ohio that we might actually, if that's where she's based, it's possible we might actually get to see her in some other matches. Now, she was also the Shine Tag Team Champion as well. Part of the Twisted Sisters. I remember hearing that name, actually, and I couldn't remember. I'd forgotten that she was part of that, though. And her tag team partner is Thunder Rosa, and it was 183 days. Now, this was kind of interesting when I looked it up, because I was like, whoa, I've just been involved in a Twitter feed that had Thunder Rosa on it. So I went back to look to check, and I was like, I've actually responded to Thunder Rosa today, at the time of recording. Having not thought of her name at all for months and months, suddenly it came up twice in one day. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot now. I was going to let you do this off, I was going to let you prepare this, but we'll do this off the top of your spot. The tweet I'm talking about is actually from Wilfred Watches. And he said, with baseball season about to start, put together your baseball lineup with wrestlers. So to give you some idea, well, I don't know. Do you want me to tell you some of my picks?
Yeah.
All right, I picked The Miz as pitcher because he actually won the MVP at that softball tournament, if you remember.
Oh.
I picked Jim Cornette as catcher because he talks a lot of trash and he probably put off the batter as they're batting. So be like, hey, batter, swing, batter, batter, batter. I thought that would be a good one to mess him up. First base, I think I went with Cassius Ohno. Very big guy, strong, but he's probably not that quick. Second base, I went with Adam Cole. Because I think he reminds me of Dustin Pedroia in terms of his grittiness and toughness. Third base, I picked EC3, because 3. Left field, I picked R-Truth, because R-Truth's way in left field. Center field, I picked Cedric Alexander, because you need somebody quick. I couldn't think of an athlete who was like super quick off the top of my head. I was like, Cedric's pretty good. I picked Cedric. And right field, I picked Bro Keller, because I wanted somebody who would
Jump.
get the team. Well, he's athletic anyway, which is important. But I was like, I want somebody who can fire up my team as well.
Okay.
Like, he gets everyone excited. And I was like, when your team's behind by like 4 runs, you know that he's going to get his team pumped up. I also liked R-Truth in left, because I wanted a veteran as well. You need somebody who's got lots of experience, and I thought he fitted that team.
Okay.
All right, you got the idea?
Yeah. So,
Now, the reason Thunder Rosa got responded was somebody put Thunder Rosa at, I wrote it down here. Somebody put, I think she should be right field. And Thunder Rosa actually responded. I don't think she was even tagged. I think it was just typed. I think I'd be better suited at center field. So that's how I saw Thunder Rosa's comment.
So my pitcher would be AJ Styles, because when we went to Battleground, we went to a Phillies game before that, and AJ Styles threw out the first inning pitch, and it was actually a strike.
That's a good
It was
call.
really good.
That's a great
And
call.
I would put The Rock at catcher so he could be like, you're jabroni at the
So
plate.
trash talk as well.
And
I like it, yep.
Braun Strowman at first because he's really tall, and then he could scare off the runners at first.
I can imagine if he swung a bat and it hit the ball, home run. He's
Yeah.
like a perfect first baseman, actually. Yeah.
I can't think of a shortstop off the top.
Oh,
of
I
my
missed
head.
my shortstop. Who did I pick? I had Lacey Evans. Because shortstop, you're supposed to have somebody who's got soft hands. I don't know for sure, but I can imagine. She always walks out with those white gloves over her hand.
I meant second base. I can't think of a second baseman right now.
Okay.
And
was a
for
tough
shortstop, I would pick Yokozuna, so they could run into Yokozuna in case they get past Braun Strowman.
Okay.
And for third base, I would probably pick Sin Cara, so he could do some flips, and he's really fast to run to home plate if need be. And he's very athletic.
Yeah. I thought the outfield was the hardest, actually. Because there's nothing specific about those people, except center field to me has got to be quick. The other ones, it's just like, you need a good athlete, but there was no real characteristic that stood out for those.
I would pick Bro Keller to be center field so he can jump over the wall.
Oh,
catch
yeah.
it.
Oh, that would be cool. That's a great pick. I like
And
that. Yeah, he does some really good
pick,
flips.
Oh, this is really hard. I would probably... And I would pick Grand Metalik to be in the outfield, left field, so because he's really fast. He could jump off the wall.
You could.
And get some height on that. And I'm trying to think of a second baseman. The second baseman sort of has to be good at grounders. So I'm thinking about... this is really hard.
Yeah.
I can't...
Oh, I spent a long time putting it together. I had to get a piece of paper out, and I kept pointing.
Oh, I know who my manager would be. Vince McMahon.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Some people added in things like my designated hitter is. I was like, oh, I wasn't even thinking of that. Some people had like a relief pitcher as well, or a closer. I was like, the picture only showed the 9 positions.
Yeah.
Because actually on Twitter, you only have a certain number of characters. Like, I couldn't even explain why I'd picked some of these people. I just had to put the list, and then on the next tweet, I was like, well, I picked this person because of, and I'd pick...
I probably should pick a woman for the next 2.
Okay.
Because I wasn't even thinking about that right now. I would pick...
Somebody did some all-female rosters. Like, they went right through.
That's hard. Ricochet to be an outfield. The right field.
Oh, he'd be good as well, yeah.
I need... This is hard.
I actually had... I'll tell you who my original pick was for second base. I actually had a Rich Swan. Rich Swan or Rick Swan? Rich Swan.
Rich Swan.
Because he reminded me of Brandon Phillips, who used to play for the Reds. I can't remember who he plays for now. But he has like a similar physique and a similar look to him. And I was like, oh, that's... second base was a tough one as well. That's why I just picked somebody scrappy. Pedroia is scrappy, so Adam Cole's scrappy as well. So I kind of picked him for that.
Oh, Orange Cassidy.
I think you said you wanted somebody athletic. He'd probably just lie down.
I was just kidding. He would be a good shortstop.
Okay.
Because he'd shortstop.
He's got the sunglasses ready.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
He's got the sunglasses ready, that's for sure.
Oh, this is really hard.
You don't have to pick anyone, that's fine. Just throw
Alley
it out.
Cat, because she's always on the floor.
There you go.
And she could follow the ball.
Oh, she'd pick up the ground balls. She'd chase after them.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. All right, we're done. All right, I don't even remember if we mentioned it was Shotzi Blackheart, who was also in this match as well. We've talked about lots about Shotzi before, so we don't need to talk about her. But Mason did actually realise her nickname is not Baldy Badass now.
I thought it was Baldy.
I didn't want to say the correct one because it was like, we're PG, but at least we now know what it is.
And all I have is the ending.
You didn't have anything for this?
Shotzi Blackheart does a cannonball off the top rope.
All right, now this is funny because I actually wrote something down here in case you actually did this. Because normally I'd try to write one comment down, but I found a lot. I was looking a lot for Holidead and different things, and then I was looking back at Thunder Rosa, so I had a lot. This match went on 10 minutes and 31 seconds. This is one of the longest matches, and you're telling me you got absolutely nothing for this except for the finish? What happened?
I think it was because we were talking about the Space Jam Face Jam at this point.
Oh, we were?
Yeah, we were.
How?
We were, cause you were, no. You were texting about the Baldy. And then I was, like, worried about that and seeing if you were actually gonna do it. And then you were, like, talking about Mayday liked it. And...
That was after this match, though.
No, it wasn't.
Well, I sent the tweet out at some point in the match, but then that was
during
late.
the match.
All right.
See, that's why.
All right, let me give you one fact then to bail you out. I'm going to let you off the hook. This surprised me. Remember the PWI ratings that tell you the different how good they are? Shotzi went down last year. She went from 48th. She was in the top 50 down to 76 last year. I can't imagine somebody going down. Like, was you building your career up? Unless it's you getting older, but that doesn't apply to Shotzi. All the matches I saw from Shotzi last year were amazing. So, unless they got their rankings wrong, 2017 sounded like a cool year for her. Yeah, I'm curious how they come up with those lists. That's a big drop, 48 to 76. I'm going to go back and look at those lists to see sort of which type of people did they put ahead of her. Because for me, Shotzi is one of the best female wrestlers. I love her gimmick. She's very talented, and if I see that name on a card, I immediately get excited because you know you're going to get a good match. All right, match 7, Just Peachy, which was Kylie Ray and Laynie Look, versus Bird and the Bee, which was Willow Nightingale and Solo Darling. We've talked about these people multiple times as well. This was the one where I noticed there were a lot of streamers at the start, though.
Yeah.
That was for sure. Okay.
Willow and Kylie Ray were about to have a thumb war. They actually did. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody won. It was a neutral. Nobody ducked in either. I don't think that there's a team that's being more rooted for than the other. the one that's more over, because they're like the ultra faces.
Yeah. You said that at the start. You're like, they're all faces. I'm like, yeah. And they're all very popular as well.
Yeah.
There was some chance for Smiley Kylie, but then there always is.
Yeah.
Kylie Rae's certainly very popular, but the other team was certainly popular as well.
So, the bird and the bee, they wrap their legs around each of Laynie Luck's legs, and then they do like a pinning predicament. Mm-hmm. And then if that doesn't work, one of them just flips them over, and then they stay wrapped around the legs. One gets up and does like a move or like a dive or something. And they did that twice.
Mm-hmm. I got one thing for this match, because I was actually paying attention with not having to write so much down. Kylie Rae took some brutal kicks from Solo Darling. We mentioned that on a previous one. I said on B2, the Call In All Girls, I said Solo Darling's kicks look really powerful. Mm-hmm. And they did. They looked absolutely brutal. Kylie Rae, if she was selling, she was selling really well, but you could see there was some force there. They would genuinely hurt. She's got a lot of leg power. Mm-hmm. To me, that was one of the things in a match where it's like because when you get the chop, it's always like but it's always like kind of sarcastic. You know, like you don't really think. But her kicks, each time I looked at them, I was like, ow. Ow. And she didn't let up. And Kylie Rae sort of kept her position as well. She must have took like 5-6 kicks in a row.
And everyone gets one another in a pretzel. Mm-hmm. It was, like, really painful. Mm. And then commentator said something about dislocating the shoulder. And then I was watching this TV show, and apparently there's 136 ways to dislocate your shoulder.
There is?
Yeah.
I don't even want to know one of them. I don't like that type of stuff.
But there's only one to put it back in.
Oh, okay. Huh.
There's one way to put it in.
What show was that?
Casey Undercover.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a spy show.
Oh, okay.
So they like...
Is it a kid show?
It's sort of like Thundermans.
Oh, okay.
Like, they
so
have a whole big family, and then they're all spies.
Oh, okay, I guess.
So, just Peachy wins with a super kick suplex.
Okay. And as they were leaving as well, it was sort of like both these teams. They were, I would say, they were very positive. They obviously wrestle each other a lot. I see there's a lot on the indie scene, so they're obviously used to fighting with each other. All right, match 8, main event. This was Kimber Lee, the Crown Jewel, versus Zoey Skye. Now, I did wonder when I heard this as well. Crown Jewel is like a really positive thing. Like, you think of royalty, I think of the Queen when I hear that thing.
I think of Saudi Arabia.
Until last year, that's what I was about to say. And that Crown Jewel, that absolutely stunk the place out. That was a terrible pay-per-view. That might have been the worst pay-per-view ever. And I'm wondering now...
And the Saudis paid like $600 million for that?
Not just for that one. They paid a huge ton of money for like 10 years of stuff. But yeah, Crown Jewel just doesn't sound very positive now. It's interesting that my first thought was that same pay-per-view as well. But anyway, Zoey Skye, listed on Cage Match, 5 foot tall. That's it. I did not think...
I knew she was small, but
we've seen her in previous matches. I didn't think she was that small either.
I'm 4'4".
Yeah, 99 pounds. It's like, ooh, we talked about some of the weights earlier. Like, yeah, I did not realise she was that small. In my head, I actually thought she was above average height. Now, I don't know if that means she was fighting like smaller fighters in previous fights. I was genuinely shocked when I saw that she was only 5 foot tall.
And she's 99 pounds?
Yep.
That's good. She's probably the only wrestler that I know that's not even 100 pounds.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But I did not think that she was 5 foot tall. It was one that blew my mind. And focusing on all the weights, because they listed them all on the previous one, I was really surprised by that. I think she was listed as 106, I think, actually, on the event itself. But on Cage Match, she was listed at 99.
So Zoey does a bridge, and then Kimber Lee, when her elbows are sticking up, Kimber Lee, like, stomps on the elbow. Mm-hmm. That's probably a way to dislocate your elbow.
That's probably one.
And Kim says that she looks... you can't hear the sound, but I could sort of just read her lips. She was like, who did that? Wasn't me. Mm-hmm. It looks like a 4 count, because the sound is like a little bit ahead, so that you can hear 1, 2. It was
really bad on this one, yeah.
Then you can see 1, 2, so it looks like a 4 count.
Correct. There was multiple times when I was like, oh, that's it, and then it wasn't. And it got particularly bad for that last match.
So Zoey's up for 10 seconds. That's weird. I don't even get it.
What does that mean?
Oh, so Kimber Lee's holding Bobby Lashley thing, and then it's 10 seconds.
She's holding her in the
But
air.
It looks like 12 or 13.
Uh-huh. Now, we timed it at one point, because I was like, it seems like a little, and it wasn't much. It was like, it took 64 seconds to show what a minute was, so it was only, but towards the end, it definitely felt like there was more parts where it was freezing, that's for sure.
And Zoey Skye wins with the double stomp.
Uh-huh. Now, they actually asked the commentators, I wanted a prediction, if a gun's to your head, who do you think's going to win? And they both picked Zoey Skye. And actually, I wanted Kimber Lee to win, because I'm a big Kimber Lee fan, but at the same time, this is her first time she's been there. So, Zoey Skye's been there
She's
for every
3-0.
single one. So, correct. So I actually said they're obviously going to they're going to let Zoey Skye win, because I think that's the match they're setting up. We already talked about Kelly Klein being 2-0 now. I think that's certainly going to be a future match. And actually, that's what happened at the end. Kelly Klein came out, but Zoey Skye basically come on, into the ring, let's go. And Kelly Klein actually backed off.
Yeah.
And the very last part of the match, as Zoey Skye was leaving the ring, there was the kids on the outside. She stopped for them, and she let them throw streamers all over her. They'd obviously wound them back in again like you did, and they just threw them from a short range so they could get on her.
Oh, I want
Which I
to
thought was
change
cool,
my shortstop now
Okay, go ahead.
to Undertaker, so he could be hiding under the dirt. And then once they start running, he could just pop out of the dirt and scare them and catch the ball.
If you can remember your picks, I'll send these to Wilfred after we've signed off here.
Okay.
All right. I think that does it, right?
Yep.
I'm not sure when the fourth event is. They seem to be every 2 to 3 months right now. So this was February, so probably the next one's probably going to be like May, June, something like that probably. But yeah, certainly haven't heard anything for April yet, but we'll certainly keep listening. I like Fury Pro. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think the timing wasn't too bad, because we said it was under 2 hours, but of course they cut everything out. There was no intermissions there or anything. I thought it was a perfect one to watch, actually, on the TV.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like it was too long, and having that few matches, they made sure that all the matches were good quality as well.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
The music was Zigzag by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0, http://creativecommons.org/licenses/by